If you like the content and willing to support my effort, then please subscribe to my channel, give it a like and share it with everyone. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to the series of chess shorts. In the series, we look at the games which have been finished within 10 moves, sometimes much lesser than that. So today we're going to look at a game that has been played between Muhlock with the white pieces and Borislav Kostic with the black pieces. The game was played in the year of 1911 or 1912 according to some of the journals in the city of Cologne in Germany. I have not found any detail about Muhlock, the player who is playing with the white pieces. I have not even heard of him, so if you can put some light on this, you can write it down in the comment section. That will be really helpful for me also. However, Borislav Kostic is obviously the Serbian grandmaster and a popularizer of the game of chess. He was also a phenomenal blindfold chess player. In 1916 in the city of New York, he played against 20 players blindfolded and he managed to win 19 of them with one draw. So today we're going to look at one of his miniatures consisting of 7 moves only. We're going to look at a trap in the Italian opening known as Blackburne Shilling Gambit. The name comes from the saying that the English chess master Joseph Henry Blackburn used to defeat people coming to a cafe with this opening and demand 1 shilling from one of them. However, this is probably a myth because there are no recorded games of Blackburn that can be found with this opening. Borislav Kostic, on the other hand, made this line popular and he used to play it with this line frequently. That's why this is also known as the Costage Gambit, and this game is also one of the early examples of the games that was played in this line. So without further delay, let us dive into the game. White begins the game with e4 and black replies with e5, the king's pawn opening. We are looking at knight f3 attacking this pawn, knight c6 defending this pawn, and then bishop c4, the Italian game on the board. And well, the idea is white is willing to push d3, but he is afraid that his bishop will be suffocated and blocked, and that's why he is going for bishop c4, which is eyeing on this weak f7 pawn, at the same time creating a nice little room for the king to castle. So that is the idea of the quiet Italian game, and on the very next move, Kostic goes for knight d4, known as the Costage Gambit or the Blackburne Shilling Gambit, if you may call it. So what is the idea here? The idea is that black is actually provoking white to capture this free pawn on e5, and from there white can go for bishop into f7 check, or maybe knight into f7 forking this queen and this rook, a very classic example of forks in the very beginning of the game. And that is this trap is all about. On the very next move, white goes for knight into e5 and black plays queen g5. Now this queen is attacking this knight and the g2 pawn with a potential threat of capturing the rook with a deadly check. If suppose white goes for bishop into f7 check, king e7, now this queen is attacking the g2 pawn, that's why castles, queen into e5 and bishop c4, white is up by 2 pawns and down a piece, he's down a knight, and the trap is actually deadlier than it looks like. After queen g5, white goes for knight into f7. This knight is protected by the bishop, also it forks the rook and the queen. And the rook is trapped, so black is gonna lose the rook, but here black goes for queen into g2 with the threat of capturing the rook, and that's why rook f1 and then queen into e4 with a check. And with this, the position is completely lost for white here. Suppose here white goes for queen e2 blocking the check, then obviously he is losing the queen, and with a potential threat of checkmating white with knight c3 bishop e2 and then capturing the bishop. Suppose white goes for a3, something bad move, then simply knight c3 check, bishop e2, queen into e2 is checkmate. And in this position, if white goes for capturing the knight, bishop into e2, then king into f7, white is down by a queen and the position is not looking good for him. It is absolutely devastating for white here. However, in the actual game, we see that white goes for the other possibility, which is bishop e2 blocking the check, and then black goes for knight f3. and checkmate. The bishop is blocked by the queen against the king, and this knight is delivering a check to the king, the checkmate. A classic example of the smothered mate. The king is suffocated by its own pieces. And with this, Borislav Kostic goes on winning this game. However, let us look at this trap in a little bit more detail. We're looking at e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and then bishop c4 and knight d4. So this knight d4 move is actually very much weak for black. If you are playing any CDS tournament, then I would recommend you not to play this move, because according to American IM Jeremy Silman, this knight d4 move is actually not good. He recommends that here white can go for castle or knight c3 or maybe c3, or even he goes for knight into d4, e into d4, and then c3. White has so much activity and initiative. Also black lags in development, and it's not looking good for black, at least. Also, moving the same piece twice in the opening for no specific reason is not actually very good. If you're playing against some weak player or a friendly match, then I think you can go for this opening, but otherwise this is not a very good choice for the opening. However, as white, if you face this kind of move, then obviously you can go for castle or knight into d4, and suppose here you go for capturing the pawn with knight into e5, queen g5, and as white, I think the best move is obviously not knight into f7, rather bishop into f7 check. If king e7, then simply castles, queen into e4 and bishop c4. You are down a piece, but obviously you are up by 2 pawns. Black's king is in the center, and I think it's at least playable for white here in this position. And as black never captured this pawn, queen into e4, because after rook e1 you are losing the queen and it's lost. Try this out by yourself. I'm taking your leave. See you next time with some other exciting video.